Everyone, welcome back to Breslov Efrat here at Shira David. And it's another beautiful day here in Eretz Yisrael, here in Efrat, Baruch Hashem. How special is it? And how lucky we are to be over here, Baruch Hashem. Never take it for granted. All right? Also, we want to Refuah Sheleimah for David's brother, Yitzchak Mordechai ben Leah. He should continue to be stronger and stronger, and better, amongst all the Chayli Yisrael. Okay, all right. So we'll learn the Likutey Halachos, of course, with Siyata Dishmaya, and we're learning Hilchos B'tzias Hapas, the laws of breaking bread. We discussed many reasons why it's called B'tzias Hapas and all of that. Okay. And today we're in Halacha Hey, and we're up to letter Chav Hey, so 525. Those are following along inside, okay? Okay. V'zeh ba'loischas haneros el mul pnei hamenorah. All right, when you light up the neros, right? Ba'loischas haneros el mul pnei hamenorah, yo'iru shivas haneros. Right? So you have to light up. There are seven candles, right? Seven. When we said yesterday, there are 7 different groups of neshamas up in Shemayim. 7. Hainu shehizir as Aharon akoyin shehu sheishbina the matrinusa. Aharon is the I guess you could say the assistant of the queen. Sheishbina, right? It's a beautiful word, right?
Said the bridesmaid here.
Bridesmaid, okay. Shaloisik likorev Yisrael laHashem Yisborach ayedei shemamshech aleim horas hatzadik emes. He's busy with being Isaac to bring Klal Yisrael to Hashem. Right, and this is the light of the tzaddik. Remember, we learned many lessons with Moshe Rabbeinu trying to understand why all the kelim in the Mishkan, Moshe Rabbeinu had no problem with. Right, but when it came to menorah, Moshe Rabbeinu he couldn't figure it out. Hashem told him once and again and again and again, and he just couldn't figure it out. Remember, we learned that, right? Mm-hmm. Right, because Moshe Rabbeinu was trying to figure out this idea. I understand how to make a menorah, but how do I make a menorah that's going to last for all of time? That any time you light a menorah, it's going to bring you closer to Torah. It's going to light up neshamas. How do I do that? He didn't know how to do that. Moshe Rabbeinu didn't know how to do that. Right? But Hashem said, you just do your part. You do. Oh, good morning, Reb Simcha. Welcome back. You do your part. Remember, we learned that all the lessons. Mordechai, remember? Yeah, David, remember the lessons we had? Yeah. Unbelievable. The Bechinas, Have mi talmidav shel Aaron, oyev shalom, roidiv shalom, mekarvin la Torah. And that's why it says Aaron HaKohen was the one that was mekarv people to Torah. Why? Because he was lighting the menorah. He was lighting the menorah, and we see that the light of the menorah lights the neshama, lights the letters in the Torah. And why is it? How do you know that? Because there are 7 branches on the menorah, 7 groups of neshamas. Each group is lit up by another candle in the menorah. So beautiful idea. Lahalois ulahoyer eshivas haneros. When you want to light up all the 7 different groups, right? We said that all the Nishmas Yisrael, the 600,000 neshamas, fit into 7 different categories, 7 different groups, kitot, right? All right. So then El Mul Pnei HaMenorah, Shu Bechinas Hatzadik Emes, Bechinas Moshe, Shu Bechinas Pnei HaMenorah. Okay, Pnei HaTorah. Moshe Rabbeinu is known as the Pnei HaMenorah, Pnei HaTorah, right? The face of the menorah, the face of the Torah. Kihu Kalil Mikol Hashivim Haponim LaTorah, because Moshe Rabbeinu is all inclusive of all the different 70 different ways to learn Torah. So we know that there are Shivim Panim LaTorah, right? And we know that Torah is Pardes, right? Torah is Pardes, Pshat, Remez, Drush, and Side. Right? Pardes, right? And we know that the Torah is infinite because of each one of the 70 ways of learning the Torah out. You could learn 70 ways of each one. And then there are 70 of each 70. And then 70 of those. And it just becomes unlimited. It becomes unlimited. V'al Kain, who, therefore, he was able to Yachal Lahoyer Kol Shorshe Nishmas Yisrael Yalkin is Iru El Mul Pnei HaMenorah Yeiru Shivas HaNeros. You have to be El Mul Pnei HaMenorah when you light them. Shekol Akita should be Yisrael Sheklulim B'Shev Akita, because the all the different groups of Klal Yisrael are included in the 7, like we said, of the 7 of the menorah. Kulam Yeiru El Mul Pnei HaMenorah Shekulam Yechavnu Datam El Ha'oras HaTzadik Emes Misham Meir Nishmasehem, and there all their neshamas are lit up. And we know when the candles were lit on the menorah, they were lit in the way that the 3 branches there were 3 branches on the right side, 3 branches on the left side, and the candles always burned towards the middle, right? The middle branch, right? They always burned towards the middle. That's how the miracle was on the menorah. Okay, v'zeh now chav vav. Okay, v'zeh shenismach b'Zechariah Kapitel Dalet Shuav Torah Shabbos Chanukah. Shalom, that's what you go mechavim to. Remember?
Can I ask one question about the last?
Oh
day?
yeah, sure.
Focus their minds on the illumination of the authentic tzaddik, from where their souls are illuminated. It's kind of showing you the importance of the tzaddik. When
The
you're
tzaddik
doing this.
is the middle one.
Right.
That's why the right and the left pointed towards the middle one, because to realize that all the Torah comes from the tzaddikim, and that as the Torah itself is called Torah's Moshe, right? It's Moshe's Torah, right? Moshe Rabbeinu brought us the Torah.
But the reason I'm saying is because I have come to really focus on that, and this is a piece that just reminds you to focus on the tzaddikim.
Yeah, you have to focus on the tzaddikim.
Because
The whole lesson's about focusing on the tzaddikim. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. Okay. All right, we got it now?
Did you hear that? No.
Okay, here we go. V'zeh shenismach b'Zechariah Kapitel Dalet to Haftarah Shabbos Chanukah. So on Shabbos Chanukah we read a special Haftarah, of course, right? To honor Chanukah. It's a piece from Zechariah Nismach Sham Mara HaMenorah Le'inyan V'Yeshua Haya Levush Begodim Tzayim. It says over there that Yeshua was wearing soiled garments.
Yeshua?
That's what it says, right? V'amar hesiru habegodim atzayim. Take off those soiled garments. Take off the soiled garments. Ki bechines hamenayra hu tikkun v'tahara lahasa habegodim atzayim v'liskos lebegodim levanim, to put on the clean garments. Maybe you could say like this: the light of the menorah, they say, is always very important to look at the light. You have to look at the light, right? Maybe when you look at that light, you could actually start to realize all the soiled spiritual garments. You need that light in order to see it, right? In other words, you need certain light. Sometimes you can't see things, right? But if you shine a different light on it, you do something else, then you could see it, right? You ever go to like these places and they tell you to put on these special glasses? You go to a film, right? Sometimes I once went in Yerushalayim to I think there was the on Kika Muzika. They had a what do you call it? They had a film to watch there. So they tell you to put on these like paper glasses with something on them. You ever do that?
3D glasses.
3D, yeah. 3D. Okay, there we go. Okay, so when you put on the 3D glasses, you can. But if you're not wearing the 3D glasses, you don't see it. It's there, but you don't see it. So perhaps we could say, I'm just using that as an example. You now look at the light of the menorah, specifically the light of the menorah, and now you can start to see, I have all these different things I got to take off. Like the Haftarah says, take off those soiled garments. I may not have known I had them. But I look at the menorah lights gives me that spiritual light that I need to let me see the soiled garments I have, and now I know to take them off. If you don't know you have them, you don't take it, you don't know what to do. Right? If you know what it is, you know what to do. Like we learned this a few times, that all the time your clothes should be clean and the oil should never stop flowing from your head. And we said that the oil is the Torah, right? Keep your garments clean. And how do you keep your garments clean? Via learning Torah, right? The Torah is the cleaner. The Torah is the one that is the all inclusive detergent that can clean up the spiritual garments. Okay, v'zeh bechinas keshemen hatoiv sheyored al pi hamidoisav she'em bechinas habegodim bechinas bigdei kahuna begodim nikiyim. The Kohen's gadol, of course, was the Kohen's begodim were clean, and that's such a beautiful idea. Right now, look at the menorah, look at the light, see that your garments are soiled, spiritual garments are soiled, and then you can know to clean them, and that's why you can't use the light for anything else, because this is holy light, right? It's holy light. We say that, right? That's why we make sure we always light the shamas, because you don't want to use, you're not allowed to be mishtamish with the light of the menorah, because it's holy light. Now we understand it, because now I could use that light in order to spiritually advance my connection with Torah, with Hashem, with the Tzaddikim.
So are you saying that with the menorah, I could actually, I have not seen my soiled clothes spiritually.
Okay.
We can see that, actually, like manna will be, can taste like ice cream, we should be able to see our
You can come to realize that then, that there's such a thing. I don't know if you can actually see them, okay, but you'll know that there's such a thing, okay, and it'll you know, it's those are the nice winter night, right, and it's nice and cold outside, right, it's nice, right, even here at Yisrael, it's usually cold, sometimes it's raining, right, windy, it's nice, and you just sit and watch the light, it's such a relaxing thing, and you can just see what's real. It's almost like getting up at Chatzos, right? Okay, Chav Zayin. V'zeh ma shemevoye bekavonos she'ikra ha'oros ner Chanukah hu al yedei bechinas Hashem nachal shehu roshei tevos lahadlik ner Chanukah. Nachal lahadlik ner Chanukah. Okay, some people like they like the hadlik ner shel Chanukah. We spoke about that. But according to the Rizal, according to the Zohar, you don't say lahadik ner shel Chanukah, you say lahadik ner Chanukah. All right? Okay, so. Huh?
You say shel Chanukah, shulchan.
Yeah, but okay, we don't, okay. Hainu bechinas ha'torah shu bechinas nachal noveya, like we say, nachal noveya mikol chochma, right? The Torah is a nachal noveya, it's a flowing river, a live river. The bechinas kenacholim nito shezois bechinas that we saw the idea of this idea, right? Rivos nachle shemen. Okay, all these ideas of the oil, of the menorah, the lighting. Okay, ki ikra adloka lahamshik kedusas hashemen shu bechinas kedusas das haTorah. Right? Okay, there we go. That's the main point of this. Ki ikra adloka, the main point you're lighting. Why are you lighting the menorah? What's it all about? Lahamshik kedusas hashemen. I want to draw the holiness from the oil that's in the oil. Shul bechinas kedushas das Torah, which is the kedusha of the das of Torah, the knowledge of Torah. Beautiful. Beli hefsek, and I want it to be without a hefsek. Bechinas kemayan amizgaber ukinoah she'einai paisek. It should be like a mayan amizgaber, right? A strong, a spring that's very strong, or a river that doesn't end. I want it to be, my Torah is supposed to be constant flowing. Okay. Why we said that? Because when you do that, you're cleaning up, the Torah cleans up our spiritual garments. And then it helps me to always advance, right? That's why we're supposed to learn Torah, because it keeps cleaning us up. And if we stay clean, then we can always come closer to Hashem. Otherwise, if you don't learn Torah, what happens is, then your soiled garments keep getting more soiled, and then the person starts to lose their interest in serving Hashem, davening, learning, and doing other mitzvahs, right? That's what you see. And you see people, they start to lose their interest in avodas Hashem. What happened? Oh, the soiled garments got too soiled, and then they weren't spending time learning Torah to clean themselves up, so they start to go further away and further away. That's the way it works. But if you get them back on the program, let them learn Torah, watch, they can start cleaning up, and then they can come closer to Hashem. I mean, it's a real practical thing. You can see this really in real life. You see people, and you watch, you can even experience it in yourself. Right? There are times, if you think back in your lives, there are times where you weren't learning, and you didn't feel such an interest to serve Hashem. Start to learn, and now I start to feel an interest to learn. What changed? Oh, the Torah started cleaning up the spiritual garments. That's what brought me closer to Hashem.
So the more you're in alignment with Ratzon, the more your
More
garments are clean.
the more you're in line with Torah. The Torah cleans. The Torah cleans. Okay? V'shemen al roisha al yetzer da'ayne shelo yafsik v'izbatel chas v'sholem midivrei Torah. You shouldn't stop learning Torah. You have to always be learning Torah. B'chol ma sheyava olav, no matter what happened. No matter what happened, make sure you're always learning Torah. Like we said, you're supposed to be koveya itim b'Torah, right? Always set up time to learn Torah. Make sure you're learning Torah. Why? Because Torah is the answer to get you out of the mess. The menorah was one piece, right? From the base all the way to the top, it was one piece, mikshahi, right? Shehu loshen kaishi va'akshanus. It's a loshen of difficulty and being brazen. Action is being very brazen. You have to, what? Stubborn, brazen, stubborn. Right? And there's a stubborn. Be a stubborn, brazen in that you're going to serve Hashem. And no matter what happens, I'm going to stay to make sure to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Liyois action gadol ba'avodas Hashem. You have to be an action gadol when it comes to serving Hashem. Mitchila ve'hatzaif. The same way the menorah was mikshazah, was one piece. Like we said, it was ad yirecha ad pircha, right? From the top to the bottom, one piece. So too, I have to constantly be devoted to my learning of Torah. Okay, now, v'zel bechinas kad hakemach loy tichla v'tzapachas hashemen loy techsa. Right, you should have the kad hakemach, which is the flour, right? The kad hakemach. Loi sichla, it shouldn't stop. It's apachas Hashem and loi techsa. What does that mean? It says in Melachim, Hainu, kad hakemech loi sichla, al yedei v'tzapachas Hashem and loi techsa. If you keep your oil filled, if you keep your learning Torah full, you'll have your kemach. Kemach is the Torah. Kemach ain't Torah, right? We say kemach, you need Torah. You need kemach with Torah.
Why do they relate it that way? That the flour is supposed to remind you of Torah.
Not the flour, the oil. If the oil stays full, if you're learning Torah, you'll have plenty of kemach. What he's trying to say is like this also, okay. People think they're going to devote their time to learning Torah, they won't have their kemach. Right? A lot of people.
Your livelihood.
I don't have enough time. If I don't devote my time for learning Torah, then I'll be able to work more, I'll make more money. Right? But if you have your oil is filled, that means you're learning Torah, you'll have plenty of kemach. HaKadosh Baruch will take care of all the things. If you do the right thing, He takes care of you.
And that's the flour is for making bread, and bread is also your parnasa.
Is your parnasa, exactly. They said they used to say, did you bring home the bread, right?
Right. I didn't have any oil. I didn't.
Okay. So that's why that's the reference if kad hakemach loy sichlev v'tzapachas Hashem and loy techsa, right? If your oil is filled, you're learning Torah, of course you'll have enough kemach. Okay. Ki nimsheches bracha, because it'll bring you a lot of blessing. Kemach, which is the parnas. Okay. Hepech haklala, which is the opposite of the klala, shaya yedei ched adam arishon, she'oz nimshuchu abegadim sayim, through the ched of adam arishon, we came to the soiled garments. Ki al yedei zeh v'tzapachas Hashem and loitechsa bechinas esek Torah b'kfiyas nistakein kol zeh. You can fix the whole problem of the ched of the eitz hadas tevera with adam, with the soiled garments, because you can clean up the garments so well if you're always devoting your time to learning Torah. All right, you got that? Makes sense? Okay. Let's go to Chav Ches. Okay, v'zer shekosa b'av Torah be'ei shera mara hamenorah kedosha v'yarichu v'ya'ireini ke'ish asher yeyar mishinasai. Right? It woke up a man like he woke up from his sleep. Right? That's what it means, right? Right? Woke up a man like he woke up from his sleep. Ki mara menorah shu lahavi ha'ara mishmei misharshe nishmas yisol sebetayra. Because when you see the menorah, especially if you see the menorah lit, right, it awakens up the source, the source neshamas that are found within the menorah, within the 7 groups. Because in the 7 groups of the menorah, you have all the 7 branches of the menorah. You have the 7 groups of neshamas of Yisrael, right, in the 7 branches. So he saw the menorah, it woke him spiritually up. Like we said, when you have to look at the candles. When you look at the candles, it wakes you up spiritually.
What are the 7 groups of the souls?
Oh, so it's that because you didn't come here yesterday. Okay, so yesterday we learned that in the upper world, there are 7 different groups, 7 different categories that the neshamas all fit into. Okay, so then that's why there are 7 branches on the menorah, connected the 7 groups that we have over there of the souls. And then the souls are connected, and the 7 groups are the 600,000 souls, which are connected to the 600,000 letters in the Torah, right? The 600,000 source neshamas, right? And so on and so on. Okay?
So what are the 7 then?
7 groups.
But we don't know how they're grouped. How are they grouped if there's 7 groups?
There are 7 groups, and the neshamas fit into 7 groups. That I don't have privy to. I don't know. I don't know how they fit into there, but they go in there.
Okay. But we don't know. You don't know what the 7 groups are that they fit into.
They're like
the name of them.
Figure there's 7 different neighborhoods, okay?
Okay.
And all the neshamas live in each one of the 7 different neighborhoods. I mean, I don't know how better to explain it.
Okay.
Okay?
No, he's looking for the names. The names.
I don't have names.
You know, like we have Efrat, Jerusalem.
I don't have names.
Okay.
I don't have names.
Okay.
Let's say the stem cells.
Yeah.
What?
Just have like basic cells.
Just have a cucumber.
They stem the shaman.
Yeah, have it.
It's just like the ones, this organ, the
No,
organ, whatever.
Yeah.
It's a similar thing. You have the shamot and different types of basic stem shamot.
Fine, okay. This is the idea of getting up from sleep. Again, the spiritual sleep, like the shofar wakes us up from the spiritual sleep. And the pasuk says, "Vani yeshena v'libi er." Right? We know that I'm asleep, but my heart is awake. V'libi er. Right? Niskar sham ba'Torah u'machma zeh nemar oz daika v'yaredi ki'ish asher yeyar mishinasai machma shoyet tzarich la'asik b'soiris hashena zeh bechinas mara menorah. Right? So any time you get up, when you get up from your spiritual sleep, that's like seeing the menorah, which is also will help the person get up from their spiritual sleep. All right, let's go to Chav Tes. Here we go, Chav Tes. V'alkei nikra Chanukah. Therefore, it's called Chanukah. Ki ze ikar hachinuch lichnois la'avodas Hashem yisbarach. Oh, Chanukah, the lesson of chinuch, teaching, demonstration. Chanukah ki ikar hachinuch lichnois la'avodas Hashem yisbarach. How do you like that? Chanukah is called Chanukah because it's chinuch to get us into serving Hashem. Al yedei shemamshichin al atzma ya'ora mishorish nishmasai. When you draw upon yourself the aura from your own neshama, shebetoira nimsheches al yedei atzadik emes, which comes from the tzaddikim, which again we're connected to the source of neshamas of the tzaddikim. Shezeh bechinas adlokis ner Chanukah. That's the idea of adlokis ner Chanukah. Okay, so we have
This did something for me. Again, it just brought me to another level. If we remember, and this is for you, by the way, we couldn't take it from Hashem directly, the Torah.
Right.
So we needed Moshe. Moshe was the authentic tzaddik who taught us the Torah.
Of course.
No, I know, but that what makes it even more understanding, a greater understanding of why we have to learn from the tzaddikim.
Well, the whole Torah is called Torah's Moshe. The whole Torah is called Moshe's Torah.
So this is why we say that blessing in the morning about
We have to be connected to the tzaddikim,
Tzaddikim.
right? And when you learn
And the-
Torah, you're connecting to tzaddikim.
And
And the tzaddikim take our learning, they bring it up to Hashem where it belongs, and they make the rectifications for our learning and our davening. That's why we connect ourselves to the tzaddikim when we daven, and we connect ourselves to the tzaddikim when we learn. Right? We learned that all these ideas.
I know we learned it. However,
Okay, so let's talk about it. Okay,
it's just that I'm not sure. I had not really gotten. Slowly, I got the value of really
Being connected to
being
tzaddikim.
connected to that tzaddikim. How to be connected to them by learning their Torah, and it's because it's the Torah of Moshe. We learned it from a tzaddik.
yes.
And if we didn't have that,
We didn't have the
wouldn't any of
tzaddik, we
this.
wouldn't have the Torah. Exactly. And that's our connection to Hashem. The Torah is our connection to Hashem. But the problem is we can't connect always directly to Hashem. Right? We don't feel that we can. So we go through the tzaddikim. That's all.
So really, when you go to a kever of a tzaddik, you should take his material and learn
Yes.
his stuff while you're there.
Yes. Yes, you can always say the tikkun haklali. You could do all different things, right? That's right. So the main, well, okay. So I'm glad you're realizing the value of being connected to tzaddikim, right? Right, because before we do mitzvahs, we say we want to connect ourselves to the tzaddikim of this generation and those that are shleichni ofar. Right, we want to connect ourselves to the tzaddikim because the tzaddikim can help us with our mitzvah to accomplish what we need to accomplish.
Like by learning, like learning this.
And take the mitzvah and bring it up to where it's supposed to be to make the rectification. Any other questions on this?
Good. Yeah.
Any other questions on this? David, you
No,
have any
it's just
questions?
so
Simcha, any
beautiful.
questions? No questions.
I guess I didn't think of other tzaddikim as much as I thought about Moshe, when really we can and should think of them like Moshe.
Right, okay.
That's it.
Okay, so now we'll learn the value. Now let's learn the value of traveling to tzaddikim.
Okay, here we go.
Here we go. All right. That's the value of traveling and going to true tzaddikim. Because the tzaddik that was working all his life with Torah's chesed, the chesed, why does he say Torah's chesed? Because the tzaddik was learning Torah's chesed because he always learned with the idea that I'm going to learn what I learned to teach others. So again, not to keep your information for yourself, but always to give over the information that you learn to others, right? And it's a very, very important thing that we spoke about, and it's a very important thing to speak about again. When you learn something, don't keep it for yourself. They say that the 24,000 students of Rabbi Akiva perished because they weren't giving kavod zeh lazeh. What's kavod? Torah. In other words, when two of them were learning bechavrusin, they came up with a beautiful chiddush. They came up with a beautiful chidush, right? And they would keep it to themselves. They wouldn't tell it over to anyone else. That's what it was. They weren't giving kavod to somebody else. You understand? They weren't giving the kavod of Hashem. The chiddush that they came up with is the kavod of Hashem. They weren't giving it over. They were keeping it for themselves. Okay, so when a tzaddik is learning, when you're learning, and you are learning lilmaid ulalamed in order to be able to teach it, that's the greatest way you can learn. And then when you actually give it over, that's the best thing that you could possibly do because you help somebody else. Then it becomes called Torah's chesed.
You also get to know better for yourself because if you're going to teach someone, you have to study it harder.
Right, you have to be able to articulate it and so on and so on. Yes.
Like I've heard, like just like when we make a parnosa, you gotta give a meiser. You gotta always unload it. And
Whatever you learn, give it over. Yeah.
then you learn. You also gotta give
Give it over. It's unbelievable. It's really, but we can all do that. It's unbelievable to do that. Right? He was studying Torah with the idea that he can give it over to others. That was the way that tzaddikim learned. So they can give over the chiddush, they can give over their idea, their understanding to somebody else, to help someone else also understand.
Like teaching our children. in
teaching the children, right? Well, that you have each person has their own obligation to teach their children. That's what we say in Kriya Shema, right? Everyone,
Yes.
but you don't necessarily have an obligation to teach your friend.
well, just as we do.
No, I understand, but it's not. It's not an actual obligation, but it's a wonderful thing that if you want to be part of Torah's Chesed, right? Why? How do you turn your Torah into Chesed? When you do Chesed with your Torah, what's Chesed with your Torah? Teaching over to somebody else. Until you can wake up other souls with Torah. Because then the people can come back from their sin, and then you have more kavod Hashem. See that? You have more kavod of Hashem, more honor of Hashem. That's what it was with the tzaddik, with the students of Rabbi Akiva. They weren't giving kavod one to one another. What does that mean? They weren't giving over Torah to one another. You understand? It's amazing to understand that. People think that they weren't nice to each other. They were very nice to each other. They were very nice. They were very kind. They said good morning and good afternoon, good evening, and they wished them a good Shabbos and a good Yom Tov. And they did all of that. No problem. No problem. Maybe even invited them over for meals with each other. No problem. But they didn't teach Torah. So you weren't giving over the kavod of Hashem. If you want to give over the kavod of Hashem, that's teaching Torah. When you teach Torah to somebody and help somebody, that's giving over more kavod. A very important lesson. Higdul kavod Hashem is baruch. Okay? Now, v'zeh hatzadik shafilu kishenistalek adayin hu oisik bazeh lahachzir kol oilam lamuta. And this tzaddik, again, like he wrote svarim, right? He's bringing the world back to doing good. Right, so take Rebbi Nachman, take Rebbi Nachman. They wrote their beautiful teachings. We're learning them, and they're helping us. They're helping us get closer to Hashem. So the chesed goes on. It's a chesed with dividends, right? It keeps paying dividends. It's a chesed that you do that keeps paying dividends, right? When you want to make an investment, right? When you make an investment, you want your investment to pay you a good return, correct? Of simcha, right? So if you make an investment that you're constantly helping people, that your investment keeps giving over and you keep get dividends on your investment. It's wonderful, right? That's why they say when you give tzedakah to help out, let's say, families of that people that learn Torah, right? And then they're going to raise their family that the children are going to learn Torah, and so on and so forth. So then your money keeps paying. Every time they're doing mitzvahs and every time they're doing something, you're gaining for that. It goes on your cheshbon. It's chesed. That's why we have to be very careful what we do with each thing, because we want to turn it into an everlasting chesed.
So Abraham being a master at chesed,
yes,
because he was trying to bring everybody in and teach them about God.
That's what he was really doing,
and
right?
that's what he's doing, and that's a chesed.
He used the food in order to bring them in.
Yeah.
But a lot of times people want to have a class, they say we're going to have a big breakfast, right?
Right.
Well, we're going to bring a
them in.
big breakfast, you bring people in. Oh, the food. They don't want to necessarily learn anything, but there's food. I'll get free food, so I come to learn. A lot of people do that. Right? What?
There is Shimshon every Shabbos.
Right, okay, if you have cholent, right? Cholent, kugel, or gewalt, and then people come to learn.
People come to learn.
They come to eat.
So
right, but that's they learned that. That's from Avraham Avinu. Avraham Avinu did the same thing.
Yeah.
We said that yesterday over at the thing. Avraham Avinu, when the guests came in, he fed them good food, gave them beautiful food. Right, Avraham Avinu was the first kosher delicatessen. He was the first one that had a kosher delicatessen, right? Right, a food truck. Right, I think that was a fruit truck. Right, Avraham Avinu had his truck. Right, it was moving. He was moving. Right, Avraham Avinu he served tongue. He served bread. He made sandwiches with mustard. Right, the Torah tells us he served tongue sandwiches with mustard. Come on. Okay, now you came to Avraham Avinu's tent and he gave you a Coca-Cola and he gave you whatever, all the things, a sandwich and everything. And then when you finished, he said to you, okay, you have to bench. Thank Hashem. And then they said to him, what's this, who's Hashem? What are you talking about? Now, we ate your food. Oh, you ate my food? Okay, 1 second. He got his receipt book. Oh, you had one sandwich and you had one Coca-Cola and this and that. Oh, and then a piece of cake for dessert. Here's your bill. Here you go. They said, whoa, what do you mean? Why are you giving me a bill? Well, if you're saying if it's my food, so then pay me for it. It's not my food, it's Hashem's food. Oh, you mean you want us to thank Hashem? Yeah, if you thank Hashem, I throw out the bill. So they learned to thank Hashem. That's how Avram Avinu got them to learn to say to thank. Now the question the Sfarim ask, all the Sfarim ask, why did Avram Avinu only ask them to bench and not to make a hamotzi? Why didn't he teach them to do that? So they say that really when they came in, they were idol worshippers. They had no mitzvahs of themselves. They had no merits. But when they came into the tent and they gave Avram Avinu the merit to serve him, so they were a vehicle to help Avram Avinu do chesed. They earned the merit. So therefore Avram said, now you can bench. Because now you have a merit.
He's also teaching them the importance of gratitude.
Of course.
I know, but
he used the food in order to teach them that there's a Hashem. Right? He took to teach them that there's a Hashem. Because they were so amazed by it. They were so amazed that wait a second, we just ate all his food and we didn't have to pay. Everywhere else we go, they want to charge us. Yeah. He didn't charge us. He really means what he's talking about. Right? So he got them, they saw the sincerity of Avram Avinu, so then they learned something. Some of them learned, right? And then it says, as a nefesh asher asa b'choran. Avram Avinu, he came to Eretz Yisrael, he took the soul that he made in Choran. What was the soul? Those are the people that he influenced, that he brought with him to Eretz Yisrael, right? He had his Hasidim. Avram Avinu had Hasidim also. He was the first Hasidic Rebbe. He had his Hasidim, and they went all the way from there, from Mesopotamia, all the way to Israel. Isn't that amazing? Amazing.
So Abraham must be failing over all of that's going on in the world today in terms of Jews learning and everything.
Every time there's a bris milah that happens, Avram Avinu is very of course. Brisay shel Avram Avinu. We say this, the brisay shel Avram Avinu, right? You're going to the bris of Avram Avinu. The treaty of Avram Avinu. Avram Avinu was the first one to have a bris. That was the first mitzvah that he was commanded for, right? All right, anyway, let's finish the piece over here. Okay. Ki atzadik kefi chelkai b'Torah shenistalek imay chelkai sheyesh lei b'Torah. When the tzaddik leaves, his chelik in Torah, because everyone we say in davening, v'sein chelkeinu b'Sorasecha, right? V'sein chelkeinu, give us our chelik. Give me my part in Torah. Each one of us has our own part in Torah. Torah, again, you can't have the whole Torah because we discussed the whole Torah is infinite, right? You have shishim, you have shivim panim la Torah, 70 different ways to understand Torah, right? And then you have 70 ways of the pardes, pshat, remez, drush, and side. So now you take 70 into the 5 different categories, right? Now, but within each one of those 70, of the 5 categories, there's another 70. And then another 70, and it's impossible. It's an unlimited number. It's an unlimited number. I mean, even like we saw the Gemara when Moshe Rabbeinu saw Rabbi Akiva and he was darshaning the tagim, the crowns on the thing, he said, well, what's he doing? I don't understand that. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to Moshe Rabbeinu, that's your Torah he's learning. He's learning his Torah, but he didn't even know what it was. But it's your Torah. That's how deep the Torah. Just giving you an example how the Torah is so amazing and so unlimited that even Moshe Rabbeinu didn't have a chelik in that learning, but Moshe Rabbeinu knew it was his Torah. It was Shvil Zeg Be'ez Shenistalek Tzadik Oz Kosher Loimar Torah Machma Shenistalek Ima Tzadik Chelka Yeshe Torah. So when the tzaddik leaves, his chelik of Torah leaves with him. So then it's hard to say the Torah over the tzaddik. K'moishe Shemati calls them Mipiv HaKodesh, as Rav Nosson says he heard this from Rebbi Nachman. Be'ez Shenistalek Tzadik Echad, when one tzaddik left, Tzaddikim hagedolim shekol haTorah klula b'nishmosam shenistalkem kinistalek imoyim shayrish kol Torah shehu shayrish kol nafshes Yisrael. But now here's the part, okay? So in other words, when the tzaddikim leave, their chelik goes with them. Avol Elu tzaddikim agedolim, but these great tzaddikim, machmas havosam es Yisrael, because they love Klal Yisrael so much. V'chol yemeyam mosru nafsham b'shvilam lahavi lahem ha'ora misherish mishmaseyam. And all their lives, the tzaddikim are working to give them a ha'ora, a light from their own neshamas, to show them how special their neshamas are. Al kein gam ata achrei histalkusam, even after they leave, they leave the world. Einam manichim sheyistalik or shirish hatayra imam legamri. The light doesn't leave up with them completely. So the same way Reb Nachman wrote his thing. So again, the chelik Reb Nachman, when he left the world, he took it with him. But Reb Nachman loved Klal Yisrael so much, and he was constantly trying to light up neshamas of Klal Yisrael, so something stays here. Could you imagine how powerful it was when Reb Nachman was here? They said that if anyone heard Rebbi Nachman, for even they heard him to speak one sentence, they did total tshuva.
Wow.
That's how powerful his words were. Anyone that came to Rebbi Nachman, they heard him speak one sentence, just one sentence. They saw the light. He lit up the light in them, and they did true tshuva. It's amazing. That's the power of the tzaddikim. But he loved Klal Yisrael, so therefore you can learn Likutey Moharan now, and you still have light in there, and it can work. But we can't imagine how powerful it was when the tzaddik was actually alive. Right? You understand that? You understand that concept? Okay. Rakim oiskim gam la'acher estalkusam lahamshich lo'ib yisor b'chol echad ve'echad ha'ora mishorish mishmosei shebetayra. But he keeps helping them to show what the shorish of the Torah from what the tzaddik was teaching. He keeps helping up the people even though after he left the world. And that's the most beautiful thing. The tzaddikim, you would think they left the world, they were done. They're up in Gan Eden. They have their beautiful place over there. Why do they need to be bothered with us? No. But the tzaddik is always they're part of Nishmas Yisrael, and the tzaddikim are constantly working with us. They have no rest, right? They say there's no rest for the wicked, right? They say there's an expression like that, right? Rabbi Kramer always said, I never understood why he says that. There's no rest for the wicked. Why is he called the tzaddik the wicked? I don't get it. But okay, either way. Okay. He called HaTorah Shehi Klal Nishmas Yisrael, because all the Torah, the whole Torah includes all Nishmas Yisrael. All Nishmas Yisrael is what makes up the Torah. The Torah is all made up, comprised of all the souls of the Jewish people. That's what the Torah is. Included b'nefesh tzaddik yedu is also included in the nefesh of the tzaddik, because we are connected to the souls of the tzaddikim. Okay, v'hiki gedulas malas tzaddik hu shafilu kishenistalek lemala. And the greatness of the tzaddik, even after he goes high up, he goes so high up. Lemokim shenistalek, to that place that he goes. Could you imagine these high places that these tzaddikim go to? Right? Yia lamata gamkein, he's still down over here also. He doesn't leave us. Lahamshech ha'ora b'chol dorei mata. And he helps all the different people down over here. K'may mevar b'torah ki merachim yenagim. It's a lesson 7 in the second book. Ki oretz nefesh hatzadik nisheres al kivrei hakodesh, because the light of the nefesh of the tzaddik stays at his burial place. It's there. So when you come to a burial place of the tzaddik, his light is still there. That's why it's such a beautiful thing to travel to the kvarim of the tzaddikim. And that's a beautiful idea to daven there. But again, when you're davening at the tzaddik's kever, you remember you're asking the tzaddik to talk to Hashem. You're not davening to the tzaddik. That is avodah zarah. Right? You go to the kever of the tzaddik and you say, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I'm here by the kever of the tzaddik. Please, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in the schus of the tzaddik, listen to my tefillah. Or you could talk to the tzaddik and say to the tzaddik, look, I have this and this problem. Please, can you go to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu to intercede and to help me with it. That you could do.
Or imbue me with what you teach.
Whatever. Yeah, that's good too. Me'ira b'chol ha'olam ha'asiyah, the whole world of Asiya, Kemavaya Bekisvi Arizal, as the Arizal writes in Eitz Chaim Shar Chav Beis, if you want to look that up, Nimsa Shebayim Al Kivrei Shesham Ha'oris Nafshei Shenistalka L'Sham Im Kol HaTorah She'osik Bo. So all of their Torah that they learned are there. We have the opportunity to go to the Kvarim of Tanoim, Amoraim, here in Eretz Yisrael. Right? You go up north, you have all the you have amazing. It's amazing. You go to these, you can, Mamish, you go to Rabbi Shimon, you go to the cave of, that's why it's so important to go to the Kvarim of the Tzaddikim. Because the Kvarim of the Tzaddikim, you come to the place of the Tzaddik, and the light of his Torah is there. So if you want to understand deeper Pnimius HaTorah, go to the kever of Reb Shimon. That's where it started. He was the one that brought down the Zohar HaKadosh. Okay, lelamed lacherim al yedei she'oya ma'ira b'tayrasa yishor she'nishmasa yisrael b'tayra kishebayim l'sham, when they come to them hamshichem al atzma ya'ora mishorish nishmasa yishab'tayra. Amazing. So you can notice you go to the tzaddikim, and you can get upon you the light from their neshamas on you when you go to the kikvarim of the tzaddikim. Kisham kluyim kol nafshei Yisrael sheshosha matayra shayidei zeh choizvin lemutav, and then they can come back and they can actually do tshuva. So you see the great value, the wonderful value going to kivrei tzaddikim. We understand that the value of the Chanukah menorah. When you see the menorah, it can wake up the person from his sleep. When he sees the light of the menorah, he can see the his spiritual soiled garments to help him make rectification. Why oil? Because oil is like Torah. The Torah should never stop. And if you have your Torahs full, then your kemach will be full. Why? Because if you're devoting your life to Torah, of course, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will take care of the person's parnasa. Okay, it's all about emunah in Hashem. Okay, so that's the lesson. That's a lesson for today. And the Mitzvah said we'll pick it up with Lamed Aleph tomorrow, okay?
Have an amazing, beautiful lesson.
Yeah, Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem. Now let's learn a lesson in Likutey, Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. Amazing, mamash, unbelievable. Okay, I think today we're up to Yud Aleph. Are we up to 11? Today we're up to 11. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so everyone that's following along inside, we're in Sif Chav Ches 28. We're learning the halachos of Sefer Torah, Shar Sifrei Kodesh, right? What you can do with them, how you deal with them, and so on. Today we're up to letter Yud Aleph, which is 11. So it's 28:11. Okay, for those following along inside. Ein loichim Sefer Torah tefillin mezuzos min ha'ivei kechavim. You don't buy tefillin, holy things from a guy. You don't buy it from them. Mazalois beyoyse mechdei demehem kidei sheloi lahargilan leganvam or legazlan. Why? Because where would a guy get a pair of tefillin from? He stole it. Right? He stole it. So if he sees it, he can start stealing tefillin. And people will pay for it. Hey, I'll go steal more tefillin. I'll go steal more things. What does that mean? If it's for the money, what?
For a regular price, you have to redeem it.
Yeah, you have to redeem it, so you can even to put it into Geniza.
Even if it's something that you can use, and you have to put it in Geniza.
Right, because you got to take it away from him, right? But if they want a lot, maybe you'll take it for less money. You bargain with him, I guess, right? Yeah. Bargain with him. But if he wants it, he stays with his price. He doesn't want to change. Because why? If you tell them you give them such a low price, they'll just say, the hell with it, I'm not giving it to you, and they'll throw it in the garbage. Chas v'shalom. Well, you don't want that to happen. So you don't want to buy it from them as a regular thing. If they do have it and they want a regular price, whatever it is, you want to take it back from them. But we don't want to encourage them to keep taking things from Klal Yisrael. Unbelievable. Here.
So you should buy all of them and put them in Geniza, is what you're saying.
You what?
Buy them
Yeah.
all at half price and throw them and put them in Geniza.
But you can't take it. You can't take it for too cheap of a price, right? That's the main thing, right? Because otherwise, if you offer him too little, then he'll say, "I'll just the hell with it, I'll throw it out." And we don't want him to throw chas v'sholem the holy articles out. Okay, so okay, that's our lesson for today. And Mitzvah Hashem will finish this up Yud Beis and Yud Gimel tomorrow, and then we'll start Midah Sheyargo Bahem Odam Es Atzmai. Okay, we'll learn other nice, beautiful things. Everyone have a wonderful day, and we have Besoros Tovos, and thank you.